Welcome to the Degenerate Gamblers, Week 11 college football. Week 1 college basketball. Yeah, it's going to be a wild year in college basketball. I'm going to do a special show tomorrow. I'll have futures out. Hey, listen, if you like what you hear, hit the like button. Follow Howie Dewey on YouTube. Join the Discord, baby. We're on Whop.com, the Degenerate Gamblers Discord. We have an unbelievable crew of guys on there. We've been killing it. Had a huge weekend, up 13 units on Saturday with college football, up 12 or 13 units yesterday at NFL. We had a great weekend, but let's get into it. Noon this past Saturday, we opened up with our favorite team, Army, playing at home against Air Force. We loved Army in the first quarter, minus 6.5. All of a sudden, we're watching the lines. And the line goes from 22 and a half down to 19, down to 18. What the hell is going on? We get information right off the bat that star quarterback Bryson Daly is not playing. He's got an undisclosed injury. That changes everything. We put out a note in the Discord. Listen, lower your units. Be careful here. This is a different team without Bryson Daly. We don't know anything about this backup quarterback who did come in and did a good job. He got the job done. They won. They're undefeated. Still in the hunt for a playoff berth. But listen, that was huge news. Your quarterback gets axed right before a game. Then we find out he hasn't played all week long. He hasn't practiced. How does this information stay quiet? Well, it's the United States Military Academy. They're pretty good at that stuff. And then the news came out today. He's going to play next weekend. They still don't tell us what the injury is. Nobody has any idea. I've talked to all my sources, as close to Army as possible. Nobody knows what the injury was, but he is playing. It looks like he's playing this weekend. They should be rolling again. They played North Texas in North Texas. We'll talk about that later. North Texas, they can't defend against the run. They could be in big trouble here. But anyways, that's how we started off on Saturday with Army, with getting that news. They ended up winning the game. But it changed everything. Let's get into it. Noon on Saturday, bam, we had Syracuse plus 160 money line. We didn't mess around with the line. We went right with the money line plus 160, bam, 3 units, bang. We hit it. Same time, Ohio State minus 2.5 over Penn State. You know my feelings on Penn State if you've been watching this show. I think they've played the worst schedule in the country. They should have lost to USC. They're overrated. Their offense isn't as good as the announcers say every single weekend. And Ohio State just shut them down. Ohio State is a beaten up team. Their whole offensive line is new. And they just abused Penn State on Saturday. We had Penn State minus 2.5, big bet, 5 units. Mississippi minus 6.5, would they win by 50? 3 units. We teased Ohio State, Miami, and Mississippi, 5 units. We had a good day Saturday. I'll tell you what, if Auburn could have pulled that game out, it would have been a stellar weekend. But 3:30, we had Georgia minus 13.5. I talked about the show last week. I said 14.5. I don't like that. You got to buy the point, get it down to 13.5. They won by 14. That's why you got to join the Degenerate Discord, man. You have to, because we got all kinds of information on there. We had a great weekend. Look, hit the like button, follow Howie Dewey. Let's make some money. We got college hoops starting. College hoop starts tonight. I'm going to put out that show tomorrow with all kinds of futures. It's going to be a great year. We get into later games. Miami was a big one because Miami we had, and then Miami actually went down. They were down. Duke was beating them in the first half, and I came out and I said Miami scores in bundles second half. We saw that game earlier this year against California. And we took Miami live plus 2.5 for 5 units. You saw what happened. They came back and that's an offensive juggernaut with Cam Ward just doing acrobat. That guy is so fun to watch. Best quarterback in the country. And their defense isn't that great. Miami's defense is not that great. They give up a lot, but their offense, they have receivers, got guys that can run the ball. Cam Ward, it's tough to touch that guy when he's on the move. We also had Wisconsin, Iowa under. It looked like it was going under first half, and then Iowa just put it on them second half, and they just screwed our under. So we did lose 3 units on that game. We do lose sometimes here at the Degenerate Gamblers. but we came right back at 7:30. Georgia Southern plus 7.5, 5 units. They won outright. They won outright. We had USC, Tennessee, SMU tees, bang, 3 units, and SMU to finish it out. SMU minus 6.5. SMU looks good. That's a team that is right there for the playoffs. I think they have a good chance. They'll get a decent seed. If they run the table, I think they're in. But it was a good weekend. We were very disciplined with our betting this weekend on specific games, more or less units. I always say on here, you can go 2-4 and win more money than if you went 5-1. Okay? It's all about money management. You want to win your big bets. You want to lose your smaller bets. A lot of guys just don't understand that. It's amazing. Winning 13 units on Saturday, that's like going 13-0 flat betting. When I say flat betting, that's betting 1 unit every game, 2 units every game across the board. You can't win that way. You cannot win flat betting. You have to juice up the games that, your 5-star picks, your 4-star picks. Hopefully you win those and you lose your 1 and 2-star picks. So that's why we had a good weekend. Let's get into week 11. Here we go. Week 11, uh, we have a lot of games. Oh my God. Look, here's where we start off, and this makes me happy. It's Mac time. Oh yeah, it's Maction time. We've been waiting for this. We love this conference. This starts off Tuesday. There's 10 games between now and Saturday. 10 games. I mean, in the MAC this year, if you look at it from top to bottom, it is so even. You got, Kent State hasn't won a game yet. They could win a game. You saw what Kennesaw State did. Kent State is not that bad. They have been in a couple close games. But you got, Tuesday night, we got Bowling Green, Central Michigan. Central Michigan plus 12.5. Central Michigan's not bad. They're not bad. Miami of Ohio, Ball State. Again, Miami of Ohio, minus 11.5. Could be a close game. Then you got Kent State Wednesday. Haven't won a game yet. 8 plus 18.5 against a tough Ohio team. Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, Northern Illinois at Western Michigan. That's almost a pick 'em. Western Michigan's plus 1.5. Northern Illinois, I think they're 2-3 in the conference. Let's see, who did they play with? Non-league. What was that one win? Notre Dame. Yeah, they beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame. The MAC is tough this year. I'm looking forward. I'll have some good plays on these games. We've been waiting for this. I'm excited. We get into Thursday. We're back to the sun. You got Florida Atlantic, East Carolina, Appalachian State, Coastal Carolina. Friday night, ACC, and I thought I'd never say this, ACC California visiting Wake Forest. Line is 7.5. This is one of the games I really, really like. Minus 7.5. Gonna have to buy a little hook there, buy a point. And you got Rice in Memphis. Rice coming off that win this weekend. Let's talk a little bit about that. We love Navy this weekend. This is one of our losses. We love Navy going down to Rice, going down to Houston. I think that game took 8 hours. If you watch that game, they had lightning, no lightning, storms coming in, no storms coming. They stopped that game and restarted it like 5 times. I think it threw Navy off a little bit. They made some mental mistakes, which they haven't made all year until Notre Dame. I think it hurts, but the weather delays were insane in that game, and Rice ended up beating them. Now they have to go to Memphis. Memphis minus 10.5. There you go again, 10.5. We talked about this on the show last week. You have to buy that hook. Take Memphis at 9.5. That's why we hit Georgia this weekend. Georgia was minus 14.5. We bought the point, minus 13.5. Huge difference. They won by 14. That can be the difference in you having a really good week and a really bad week. So this weekend they go down to Memphis to play Memphis. Then we get more into, you got Iowa and UCLA. You got a Big Ten game. let's stop right there. Let's talk a little bit quickly about some of these teams that are on the down and out, and some teams that are on the up and up, because you have Iowa going playing at UCLA. We're talking about the Big Ten right now. And this baffles me, right? This really baffles me. Ohio State, with all the injuries that they have, went into Penn State this weekend, the whiteout, and defensively just shut them down. They shut them down. Ohio State has tons of injuries. Their whole offensive line is decimated. But they went in, they did enough to beat Penn State, cover the spread. Penn State has played nobody this year. They're still ranked seventh. To me, that's a scam. That's a travesty. They're ranked seventh in the country. Who do they have left? They have Washington, Purdue, Minnesota. I think they finished with Maryland. They don't play anybody. For them to get in this playoffs, I just don't like it. Another team down and out. Iowa State. They messed around and found out this weekend. They dropped all the way to 18. They dropped all the way to 18. Iowa State after getting beat this weekend. Clemson, you're out. You're out. You lost to Georgia early. You had a chance to make it back. Louisville just spanked you this weekend. Clemson is done. Pittsburgh, undefeated. Undefeated. Got smacked this weekend. Got smacked. Louisville, or no, that wasn't Louisville. Who beat Pittsburgh this weekend? Shit, my mind is blank. It'll come back to me. Pittsburgh lost. Oh, SMU. SMU. SMU is a team that's on the up and up. One of the teams that's on the up and up right now. Got a very good chance to get into the playoffs. Oregon. Did you see what they did to Michigan? That was just like that was like a high school team just beating a seventh and eighth grade team. That was just a beatdown. Oregon's fine. Oregon's Oregon. I said it like two different ways. Oregon, Oregon. Um, how about this beard I'm growing right now? Yeah, I can't even grow a beard. I look like a meth head in West Virginia right now with this beard. It's terrible. I got patches everywhere. Oregon went in, spanked Michigan. They're rolling. The only team to give Oregon a game all year is one of my favorite teams right now. And I truly believe this team could beat anybody, and that's Boise State. Boise State just abused San Diego State Friday night. This kid, Ashton Genty, he's a man against boys. Their quarterback, this guy Maddox, Madsen, he's overlooked. He's overlooked. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Look at his numbers. Cam Cooper, one of the best wide receivers. They have NFL players on this team. Team's undefeated. They should get a good seed in these playoffs. I would not want to play Boise State. I wouldn't want to play it. Got Oregon, Boise State, Georgia, ranked 2 in the country. They struggle against Florida first half. They struggled until the freshman quarterback from Florida, who's a beast, he got hurt. I think he'll be back this weekend, but he got injured, went out. Georgia came back, did enough. They got lucky to cover. I'm not going to lie to you. We had them. They got lucky to cover that 13 and a half points. But Florida hung with them. Here's the thing. I watch Georgia, and, I'm not going to say anything bad about Mike Bobo, their offensive coordinator. But either he or Carson Beck, who threw 2 interceptions, just terrible interceptions in the first half, their offense is struggling. Good defense. Their offense is struggling. I don't see them beating a Oregon or even a Boise State. They'll struggle. Or a Tennessee who's playing good right now. Ohio State's tough. They have them up to third in the country right now. They beat Penn State. I give them credit because they have some good players who are not playing, who are sitting on the bench. They're injured. If they can get their team healthy, yeah, you got to contend with them. Let's get to the 4th team in the country right now. Oh, God, Miami. Miami struggle against Duke. Miami does not have a great defense. Kind of the opposite of Georgia. Georgia has a great defense. Miami does not have a great defense. But their offense, they can be down 14-21. We took Miami live at the half, going into the half, plus 2.5. Would they win by 25? I don't know, 26, something like that. Cam Ward is the best quarterback in the country. This guy's fun to watch. You can't, it looks like they have him down. They have him down. He moves, he spins, he runs, throws the ball 60 yards in the air. He's a man against boys. They beat Duke, smacked Duke. Uh, they can play anybody just because of their offense. They can rack up points. I think it's the best offense in the country, along with Boise and Oregon. Tennessee looked good. It's tough to say. Kentucky was beat up, but Tennessee looked good. Tennessee's another one with a good defense. And of course, you can't forget Indiana. You got to give Indiana props. Indiana covers every single week. And it was first week of the year, I think they didn't cover. They cover every weekend. Michigan State hung with them for a quarter, and then they just pulled out the horses, baby. Indiana just ran, and they ran. I think they won, what, 47-10? Um, I like Indiana. Indiana has one big game left, and that's at Ohio State. That's going to be an interesting game. Can they beat Ohio State? Probably. I mean, they've just been smacking teams. I mean, that's a team in the playoffs that has a chance. Great coach. Guy came in from James Madison. He turned that program around overnight. I love Indiana. We talked about SMU beating Pitt. Um, so these teams, those are some teams on the up and up, some teams that are down and out. I mean, Clemson, you had a chance. Your history, you're out. And there'll be some teams this weekend that are out. All you have to do is look at the Alabama LSU game this Saturday night. Whoever loses that game is out. You're out. You have no chance. LSU's a dog. We know what LSU does at home on a Saturday night. It's a tough place to play. Bama goes in there. They have to win. They lose, they're done. LSU loses, they're done. Um, there's another rivalry game. You got BYU undefeated, but they got to play at Utah Saturday night. That's a late game. We have some late games this weekend. Utah's +4. That game scares me a little bit. That's a rivalry game. BYU definitely has to run the table and get in the playoffs. They got to go undefeated. So let's get back into it. We talked about action. There will be a lot of plays Tuesday and Wednesday. This weekend is one of the weekends that I've noticed where you have a lot of possible bounce back games. In other words, teams that lost last weekend didn't play well, but are coming back this following weekend with a chance to spank someone. Navy had all kinds of problems Saturday. The weather was a nightmare in Houston. Like I say, I really think that game was like 7 hours from when it started and when it ended. Navy goes to South Florida this weekend, -3. South Florida coming off that win against Florida Atlantic. Do we have a letdown situation where Navy goes in and gets their stuff together and smacks South Florida? That's a possibility. Um, you got Army at North Texas. I like Army already with this kid Daly coming back. He's had a week off to heal whatever injury. What he sprained? What happened there? Was it a finger, a hand, an ankle? He gets smacked in the head, get in a fight with his girlfriend, get beat up? I don't know. They won't tell us. But they got to go to North Texas. They got to go to Dallas. Or Texas only +5.5, which is interesting. Don't be surprised if that line goes up. It's 5.5 now, and it might be 7.5 by game time. It would not surprise me. Another game that's interesting too. Miami goes to Georgia Tech. They go to Atlanta Saturday. And what have we noticed about Miami all year? They come out slow. They don't come out just putting it on teams. They come out slow. This game's going to depend on if Georgia Tech has a healthy quarterback. That's it. They're +11.5 at home. I tend to think Georgia Tech may cover in the first quarter, first half. We see what Miami does second half. Start thinking about that. Miami puts it on teams in the second half. They come out slow. You may see the same thing again. Georgia Tech controls the ball, runs a little bit. Miami doesn't have a great defense. They could get an early lead, and then Miami comes back second half. That's another one I can see hopefully possibly hitting both sides like we did this past weekend. Hit both sides in that game. Iowa State coming off a horrible loss. Knocked them out of the playoffs, essentially. They have to go to Kansas. They're only laying 3 points at Kansas. Is this a bounce back game? They have to win it. Could be. How about Clemson? Oh my God. Clemson got a beat down this weekend by Louisville. Now they go to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech coming off that terrible loss at Syracuse. We had Syracuse plus 160, but Virginia Tech's plus 6.5 at home. Does Clemson, have they given up? Do they know their season's done and they give up? Or do they bounce back and beat Virginia Tech? That's a tough game. You got Michigan. Whoever in their last 50 years thought that Michigan would be going to Indiana and a 14-point underdog? That's what you have this weekend. You have, actually, I'm wrong. That game's on November 23rd. Okay. It's lack of sleep right here because we got college hoops coming up. I've been on the phones for 2 days talking to everybody and their mother about this college hoops, this NIL situation is just turned college basketball upside down. Conferences are totally different. I'll get into that tomorrow when I put the vid out. Uh yeah, so Indiana plays, they have a week off. Great, they got a week to prepare. And they're home against Michigan. I can already tell you, you can't bet against Indiana. You can't bet against Indiana. They cover every week. Can't bet against them. The game of the week could be Georgia going to Ole Miss because whoever loses this game is out. Georgia plays at UMiss. UMiss is plus 2.5 at home. Ole Miss, I said UMiss. Ole Miss, University of Mississippi. Did you see what Jackson Dart did this weekend? Did you see what he threw for? What was it, 500 plus yards? Uh, yeah, so that's going to be an interesting game. Can the defense slow down Mississippi? Kentucky did earlier this year and came out of there with a victory. I think Georgia probably can slow them down. They have the defense. If they can get to Dart, smack him a few times in the backfield. I like that. Only laying 2.5 points at Mississippi. South Carolina plays at Vandy. That's a tough game. South Carolina just looked amazing this weekend, smacking Texas A&M. They go to Vanderbilt, who beat Auburn and Auburn. One of the best quarterbacks in the country. Vandy's a home dog, plus 3.5. You know what happens when Vandy's a home dog. Ask Alabama. That's another tough game. So we have a bunch of games this weekend, and I like it because they start at noon, go all the way until 10 o'clock Saturday night. A couple games we missed Saturday. We got Florida, and that's going to depend. I hope this kid's back, the freshman quarterback. I hope he's back this weekend. He may be. Florida's a 21.5 point dog going into Texas. That's a noon game Saturday. Florida played great in the first half against Georgia until this kid went down. Then they brought in that backup quarterback from Yale. From Yale. Look, I'm sure he's going to be a good doctor or lawyer, but you can't play in front of 75,000 people overthinking things. That's what the quarterback from Yale looked like he did. So we got to get this freshman quarterback. Hopefully he's back. I think they probably could keep this line closer than 21.5 at Texas. West Virginia playing Cincinnati, big rivalry. Cincinnati's minus 3.5. West Virginia has not been playing good. Here's one that's interesting. You got Minnesota. Minnesota's been playing great ball. Going to Rutgers, only a 6.5 point favorite. That line smells like the Jet game last Thursday night. We knew something was up there. We took the Jets, and they actually won, which very rarely happens. Got a couple other games here. Duke coming off they played great in the first half against Miami, going to NC State, who hadn't been playing well, but man, they played great this weekend. NC State played awesome. Only a 3.5 point favorite at home. Actually, I don't know why I wrote the dates down wrong because Michigan does play Indiana. Michigan plays Indiana this Saturday at 3:30. Indiana's now it's minus 14.5. It's minus 14. Just went up a half point. If you're going to take Indiana, get that thing down to 13.5. You got to do it. So we got that straight. Colorado, another team that's still in this playoff hunt, believe it or not. They go to Texas Tech, minus 3.5. They're still in this. They're still in this hunt. There's probably 20 teams that are still in it. Notre Dame being one of them. I don't see how they don't play much of a schedule left. They play Army. If this quarterback's healthy from Army, Army has a chance to beat Notre Dame. Tell you that right now. University of Central Florida. They look great Saturday. They go to Arizona State as a 4.5 point dog. Could be a money-making opportunity. Mississippi State goes to Tennessee Saturday night, 23.5 point dog. Tennessee's playing good ball right now, number 7 in the country. Good chance to make the playoffs. And I told you, Alabama and LSU, whoever loses that game's out. Florida State plays at Notre Dame. Oh my God. Did those kids just pack it in from Florida State or what? They don't even want to make that trip. What are they through their 8th quarterback? They're going to ask the student section to come out and play quarterback this weekend, but they're 25.5 point dogs at Notre Dame. I don't know. We'll do a little research on that game this weekend. Pitt's coming off that loss this weekend to SMU at home, minus a touchdown and a hook, playing at home against Virginia. I tend to lean towards Pittsburgh right now. And of course, you got Washington, not very good, going to Penn State, who's still 8th in the country. How? How? Penn State's minus 13.5. Washington's not very good. Penn State plays nobody. Be a travesty if they get in the playoffs. I'm telling you, they'll get spanked first game. And then we got, the game I will watch is BYU and Utah Saturday night. Something, BYU's 9 in the country. They're undefeated. They cover. BYU covers, but this is a big rivalry game. We look at the quarterback situation from Utah. It hasn't been the best. I have no plan that game, man. You have to join. Join. If you like what you hear, hit the like button. Follow Howie Dewey on YouTube because we got a ton of vids coming out. We have college hoops starting tonight. And I do have a lean on Baylor and Gonzaga. I believe that game's in Spokane. Baylor, one of the best guards tandems in the country. They have 4 guards who can play. I'll be putting out a college hoop vid tomorrow. And it's going to be a great year. But look, things are looking strong. College football going into this playoff situation and bowl season. You've seen what we've done with bowls in the past. We've crushed college football the last few years. College basketball, we've had UConn to win the national championship 2 years in a row. Those were our futures bets. Will it be the same this year? You'll have to watch the video. I'll give a few out in the video tomorrow. I don't care. There's about 5 or 6 teams, I believe, that could win the college hoops national championship. UConn being one of them. But with the whole NIL situation, everything's changed. Conferences have changed. There's no more locality. There's no more regionality. When you look at Arkansas or Alabama's teams, and these kids are from California and New York, oh my God, or wherever. But anyways, guys, we had a great weekend in college football, great weekend NFL. Crushed the NFL yesterday. We just did a good job. We were very disciplined with our bets. I appreciate you guys. I love the guys on Discord. Look, $24.99. Join for 1 month. $25. If you don't like it, leave. But if you like what you hear, hit the like button below. Follow Howie Dewey on YouTube. Go to whop.com. Join 1 month if you want. You don't have to make a commitment, but we got some great guys in there. We have a fun time. Thank you so much for listening. Love you guys. Peace.